Marlina, the Fearless Fairy. A Magical Fairy Tale by Svetlana Petrovic. Chapter 4. Marlina, and the Shadows from the Lost Fairies, returned to Fairyland. Marlina was happier than ever, because she has got a new power, the power of love, the most powerful one. It made her stronger and immortal. Her heart made her to feel like a brave protector. Even she was the youngest, she knew how important this task was for Fairyland. This made her grow into a faithful fairy. Mearl was waiting for her return as always, in front of his cave. He was joyful, and when he saw Marlina flying with the shadows, he jumped as a child and shouted, "They are back. My dear children are back. My eyes are full of happy tears. Come to me, and give your father a big hug." Mearl spread his arms as long as he could. So Marlina and the fairies fled right to him, and hugged him for a long time. Mearl cried the whole time. It was the most touching moment in his long life. After this emotional moment, Mearl went to his cave to bring the fairy dust. He threw the dust on every shadow until the last one. There were 100 fairies. One by one, the fairies returned to their material shape. The silence was broken, and they started singing and dancing with their loudest voice. Fairyland was again a happy town. After a welcome feast, the fairies decided to rebuild the city and give Fairyland a new beautiful look. Mearl gave them the rainbow seeds to put them into a safe ground. However, they couldn't risk any other disaster, so they relocated the seeds into a secret place. They decided to plant the rainbow flowers near the source of life. It was a holy place, protected by a strong spell. The wizard who made the hourglass put an extra magic to make them even stronger to survive. He put few grains of the golden sand from the magic hourglass. This gift made the wizard a new godfather of the future fairies. It will take a year until the new fairies are born. On the other side of the sea, a new dark event started. A tunnel that led into an old demolished castle was alive by the refugees. There were Kobal and his army of the Gloms. After Marlina broke Kobal's horns, he disappeared from everyone's eyes. He put an invisible spell on himself that helped him to hide in a perfect place where no one could find him. This castle was a forbidden place. It belonged to his father, and after he died, it became just a dark legend of the evil ruler. Kobal couldn't return to his tower, even the daylight was too much for him. After he lost his horns, he had to find something to replace them. He was thinking about replacing them with the horns of a dragon. However, it was too dangerous to make this happen. The fairy dragon was a saint symbol of life. It lived in a cave at the highest mountain in the world. Hurting him could be devastating, even for Kobal. He thought about it, but in the end, he decided it was not the right time for that. He found a different thing to replace his horns. Real devil horns from a bull. He gathered the Gloms and told them, "Find the biggest bull. A myth bull. Take his horns and bring them to me. Your darkness, it is very dangerous. We could die. The bull hates everyone. I know this is why I want it. It will make me powerful again. Go right now." The Gloms walked a whole week to the desert where the bull lived. They had to fight very strong before they got his horns, and then they left him hurt and weak in the desert. Gloms didn't have any feeling. They lived to serve and please Kobal's wishes. At last, they ran away to the dark castle. Kobal was waiting for them very patiently. When they showed up, Kobal was very curious if this will work on him. He spoke a silent but strong curse as he was putting the horns into his head. The Gloms looked at him in fear. Kobal was feeling pain, but it was nothing compared to the pain in his death heart. He remembered scenes from his childhood. He was feeling dizzy, like he will pass out. As the pictures were scrolling in his mind, he experienced a strong shock attack as the horns fit to its place. He passed out. The Gloms were in panic, but in few moments, Kobal came to life. He was different. His eyes were red and his voice sounded more deep and angrier. His body became bigger in the upper part. Gloms were terrified. However, Kobal kept his goals to return to Fairyland, but he had to test his new powers. He came out at night and trained with his Gloms some new moves to hurt their enemies. At last, he found a big flaw in this. He couldn't control his anger. He wanted to kill everyone immediately. It could be very bad because that means he could destroy even his own Gloms. He had to find something that will ease his anger. He sent his Gloms in the forest to find a cure. They had to find the mole, who was an herbalist. The Gloms came to the mole's place, knocked on the ground above his house, and said, "Come out, mole. It is urgent." "Okay, step away, I need to dig out." "What is the problem?" "Give us an herb for calming." "It is for Kobal." He turned into an angry bull. "Oh my, this is dangerous for his health. Just give us the herb. We need to hurry back." "Okay, I have something that will help. A bottle of dandelion milk. He can drink only 1 drop every day. More than that will make him fall asleep. Be careful." "Okay. Bye." The Gloms came back to Kobal with the bottle of dandelion milk. He grabbed it quickly and drank 2 big sips. One of the Gloms stopped him to drink more. Kobal was surprised. "Why?" "You darkness, you can drink only 1 drop per day. You made a mistake now." "Oh my. What will happen to me?" "The mole said you would fall asleep." "Great, this is just what I need now. Damn it. Good night, sleep well." The Gloms secretly laughed at him. Kobal fell on the floor and slept for 2 days. The Gloms came to check if he is alive. Lastly, he woke up. He was feeling very tired all day, so he went to the waterfall near the castle to fresh up. This waterfall had a legend as well. It said that, once upon a time a poor farmer lived here, when it was just a field. An old man came to him and asked if he has any newborn child he would like to sell. The farmer was angry on him for this question, and chased him away. The old man knew that a boy was just born in the farmer's house, so he wanted this child anyway. He shut down the waterfall, and put a spell on it. He was waiting for 3 days, and then the farmer came to him and asked, "Please, can you give me some water? My family is on the verge of death. I will do anything for some water." "Anything?" "Yes, please, I need the water." "Okay. Give me your son. I will bring you back the waterfall." "This is not fair. However, it is the only thing, or we all die. I will bring him to you." The old man took the kid to his cottage, and raised him to become a ruler. The boy grew up, and remembered that his own father sold him, so he went back there, and destroyed the whole village. Then he built a castle, and made a ruler crown. From that day, Fairyland was fighting against the dark side. The anger passed by from father to son. Kobal was the last son from the dark ruler. He had to keep his name alive for a long future, and find someone who can continue his lineage. Luckily, the wizard and Mearl were protecting the whole land from his moves. Kobal's potential divinity disappeared in mystery circumstances. That made Kobal very angry, and he destroyed Fairyland. This time Marlina had a good backup. At Fairyland, Marlina and the fairies were decorating the town with plants and flowers. It was live now. Visitors from the whole fairy world came to Fairyland and helped or brought many interesting gifts. However, they knew that Kobal is still alive somewhere and he will take revenge. They prepared a good strategy to confront Kobal. At least they thought they were ready. Kobal wanted to play a game across the sea with Fairyland. Just to let them know he is alive. It will be a long and annoying game. He planned to send 5 disasters to them. At last, he would go there in person and pick up what is left. He commanded the Gloms to bring him a big magic pot and hounded other things he will need to throw in to make the dark magic disasters. The first day, Kobal threw in the pot, a snowball, and a walrus tooth. He created a sharp rain and sent it to Fairyland. Kobal thought that some of the fairies would get hurt, but he saw in the magic orb that they are all good. Then he came up with a new idea. The second day, Kobal threw in the pot a candle, a sunflower and a bonfire. Out of the pot came out million little burning candles and flew fast to Fairyland. This was an easy one to beat. They only had to dive under the water and wait for the candles to drown into the sea. After that, the third day, Kobal threw in the pot a dragon egg, a crazy mushroom and a spider. This one was scary. A giant spider with dragon wings flew to Fairyland. Kobal was sure that the spider would eat all the fairies, but they managed to send him back in pieces. The next thing Kobal put in the pot was a starfish, few drops of morning dew, and a spoon. Out of the pot came a water monster that could hit so hard that there was no chance to survive. He sent the monster to Fairyland. However, again, they came up with a solution and Kobal was left to plan the last torture for them. On the fifth day, Kobal put in the pot a jar of fairy dust and a piece of fairy wings. Kobal knew this would be the least thing the fairies will expect. He created a fairy that looked like Marlina. Then he taught her what to say. The fairy went to Fairyland. Mearl was sure that this time he would see something more terrifying, but a little fairy? He sure did not expect. She came to him and said, "My father, it is me, Wendy. I finally found the way back home." Wendy was the oldest sister of Marlina. They grew together from the same seeds of a rainbow flower, and that is why they looked alike. However, after the wave, she was the only one who was still missing. They were all surprised. In events like this, they did not know if they could trust her. They had to make sure it was the real fairy. Kobal had trained her very well. No one could see that she had some bad intentions. Mearl was confused. Even they had searched for her everywhere, it was too good to be true, so he let her stay with them to see what will happen next. Mearl and the fairies spent some time with Wendy. Mearl was very suspicious. Something inside him was telling him that he shouldn't trust Wendy. However, the fairies were joyful as always. Mearl wanted to talk to her, so he said, "Wendy, my child, tell me, where have you disappeared? We were looking all over the fairy world for you. It was a hard time for me. Kobal captured me and buried into a well. I almost died, but a mole rescued me. You can ask him, he will confirm the truth." "Okay, I will try to believe your words. Tell me, what happened after I was gone?" "A lot, actually. We fought against Kobal, we found the lost fairies, and now we are recovering Fairyland. You can join us in the mission." "Of course. I'm so glad I found you. I had a terrible time when I was alone." "Well, you are not alone anymore." Mearl told Bobo to keep his eyes on her. Wendy was jumping around and dancing with the fairies. Then she talked to Marlina. "Finally we met, Sister Marlina. Look at you, a pure beauty." "Thank you, Wendy. I was lonely too, so I can understand you." "Oh, how so? What happened?" "After I was born I was the only fairy. This was very challenging for me. I'm still looking for all my powers. I have lost them at the night I was born. I feel like I am not a real fairy yet." "Don't say that. You are a real fairy. As long as your heart tells you who you are, that is what matters." "Which powers have you found yet?" "I don't know if I can tell you that." "Of course, you can. We are sisters." Bobo was listening their conversation and noticed that Wendy is very curious, so he jumped to them and told Marlina he need her help on something. Wendy changed her face and expressed disappointment. She wanted to ask Marlina more about her powers, so she could tell Kobal everything. Marlina followed Bobo to the cave, and he told her, "Marlina, you have to be careful with strangers. You cannot tell them all about your powers. It could be dangerous. If someone finds out, then he could hurt you, and there would be nothing left to protect you. But she is my sister. How can I not trust her? Mearl is suspicious about her. We have to test her before she gets our full trust. The other fairies know that very well. Okay, I will be careful. Great, now let us go back and have a good time. Kobal was watching every step that Wendy made, on his magic orb. He had to do something to get their trust. He called his Gloms and ordered them to bring him the mole. Gloms went to the forest and trapped the mole. They carried him to Kobal. Then he said, "Hello, my smart friend. Long time no see." "Yes, Kobal. I wonder what the occasion for a forced visit like this is." "Don't worry. I have a great task for you. You have to go to Fairyland and help my assistant Wendy. She needs to fit in, and show them that she deserves their trust. Can you do that? Do you need something from the magic or a real thing?" "Try everything. I don't care if they even drink a potion. I have to hear some important information, so I can prepare. Can I at least have a ride to the Fairyland?" "Okay. You will get to go. Make me proud. Bye." The mole came to Fairyland and introduced himself as a guest. Wendy looked at him very confused. She thought he was bringing some bad news, but the mole told, "Hello, I am here to bring you a gift, and tell you that finally, Fairyland got all the fairies back. I personally saved Wendy and I had to see if she arrived well. Welcome here, join us on our work. I wish I could help more, so I brought you a new herb I found this year. It is very rare. It has the most beautiful taste on the world. Do you want to try a cup of tea from this herb?" "Okay, we will try it. Here is the pot. It will be enough for all of us." Fairies enjoy drinking tea. Mole prepared the tea, and the smell was so beautiful, like a candy. They lined up and everyone tasted a cup of tea. After that, they felt so calm and open to share their feelings. Mearl planned this very well. It was an herb of truth. Everyone who drank it would say the whole truth, and reveal their emotions. Kobal was rubbing his hands. It was his chance to hear what he needed. The mole asked Mearl and Marlina about the plan for stopping Kobal. Mearl answered, "I know that Kobal is waiting for us, and he thinks we are weak. However, we have the greatest army in the world. We know magic, but now we have the strength of feeling, the power of love, which is the most important weapon to fight Kobal. He cannot feel, this means we can kill him by his own sadness." "Wow, this is very good. How will you do that?" "I cannot tell you that, my friend. If I tell you, it will be lost. The time will come, when we will show you. The question is, will you join us?" The mole felt like he could find the protection here at Fairyland, and he decided to break the magic for Kobal. The mole asked Mearl to magic hide the view of Fairyland until Kobal is destroyed. Kobal couldn't see Fairyland anymore in his magic orb.